All right, now we're going to build an API to create new vehicle objects. So in the controllers folder, new C# class, vehicles, controller. Note the plural name. All right, first we're going to derive this from the controller class. Okay, now we need a new action, public. Now as the return type, I'm going to use iActionResult. This is a new interface in ASP.NET Core. Previously we had ActionResult, now we have iActionResult. So there are different classes that implement this interface. Using these classes, we can return Razor views, JSON objects, as well as standard HTTP responses like OK, bad request, created, and so on. You're going to see this in this section. So let's call this create vehicle. Now as the argument, as I told you earlier in the course, we shouldn't use our domain classes because domain classes are implementation details, and here we're dealing with contracts. But in this case, temporarily, I'm going to use a domain class because initially our API resources are exactly like our domain classes. We simply copy paste code from a domain class into an API resource. But in this section, you're going to see how API resources evolve separately from domain classes. So I'm going to use the vehicle class here. Vehicle. Now to expose this as an endpoint, we need to apply HTTP post attribute and specify the route. So it's going to be /API/vehicles. Now, because we're going to have other methods in this class for updating a vehicle, deleting a vehicle, getting vehicles, all these methods respond to API endpoints that start with /API/vehicles. We don't want to repeat this above every action. So we can apply a route attribute here and specify the base route /API/vehicles. And this will be applied to all the actions in this controller. So with this, we don't have to specify this endpoint here. We just add HTTP post. All right, for now, I'm not going to deal with the database. It's going to come later. So let's just make sure that this API endpoint works. We can call it successfully. So for now, I'm just going to return the argument to this method. Return OK, which is one of the methods inherited from the base controller class. And we give it an object. So this will serialize this object as a JSON object and return it with HTTP status 200, which is OK. All right, next I'm going to show you how to test this API endpoint.